Lexington Board of Mayor and Alderman meeting, May 27th, 2025 at 6 p.m. to order. Call the roll, please.
Fred Ellis.
Here.
Roger Lofton.
Here.
Tim Rhodes. Jimmy White. Martin Wildridge.
Here.
Gabe Williams.
Here.
Sandra Wood. Here.
Okay, at this time, the board's going to enter into an executive session, and when we do that, we will meet in that room that we normally do, and then we will come back and reconvene at however long that is.
Ken's not here. We're going to an executive session. Yeah, but they don't. Attorney's not here. The attorney's not here. We're going to executive session. Being old, I can't see nothing.
You won't commit full time.
That's what I'm talking about. About 25.
They keep going up down there. I take $5. I'll change it now pretty soon.
The attorney ain't here. I wonder who
See, we had safety courses, both safety courses tied to it, and then we had we do, we spent a whole lot too. They knew what we were gonna be. There needs to be an age thing. Yeah.
Has never been in kindergarten. I just didn't. He didn't him to. I just don't know.
Horse.
That's when we get out on it. I guess that pass along. Everybody out here's going, I got a question. I got a question about that. That's a thought.
People kind of renamed it until they had created a better thing. Put a little pets. We're creating local business owners. And then we're gonna pick up teachers. He might pick up at least some. I want somebody. She picks up all the cases. So look at her. One or two more. Somebody.
She's back with us now. Yeah. God bless her.
I'm shocked she came back. You got that? Teachers have the biggest play because they know what to do. A lot smaller than we give them. That's what I do. I would love to. That's what I planned on high school.
science, technology, engineering, art, music together, but they don't have a separate music. Middle school, we have art teachers separate, but.
I went to college for art.
Well, there's your resource right there. Resource.
She's gonna say a lot more part than she realizes.
I mean, there you go. She's got a lot of ideas.
But she naturally just with her mind's flow and let them go at it and they're not even thinking about what they're thinking about. Things they enjoy.
Question, what would be the best way to write? They just have to write 2 sentences. Because they're naturally friendly. One something. A lot of different ways to go about it.
So this is where we are. I'm assuming probably put something like that out in the service. So this way your teachers know how to get up and it's just, we've got to get ourselves organized. It's K-8 in schools, it's K-8 in 7 schools. So that's the one right there. Looking at what, 56? So there's 17 grades, and then you have another 8 grades. There's no way in earth you can take every single student's part.
That's why.
It has to be graded. Classes are going to have to choose what they want to represent.
Graduated last year. She's at college now, so you go back to the young grades there, it's a whole lot.
You can't get somebody from kindergarten. It's going to be 2 different levels. So we need to find a fairness and equality. And yeah, there's a lot of opportunities, but the teachers, the key thing is only make sure you've got teachers that can go back and discuss it with you and dad. There's got to be a liaison to make it work.
This is K1 next month. Great band. So I break it out here. Just a lot of kids. A lot of kids.
A lot of kids. What's the enrollment in this school?
Over 900.
Well, I think it's in the county's probably putting
Well, no, they're putting about 4. Well, no, they're 7 something, I think, is where they were 38 something, now they're 37 something. They lost about 120.
Well, you get up to the high school grades too, now a lot of them get busy with sports and other things, and it has to,
That starts way before high school.
it's gonna have to be voluntary.
They have classes.
Yeah.
They're good art classes.
I think this, like I said, it's just a matter of getting together and talking, bouncing ideas on how to go about this.
Did you see where that high school, whatever that was, that came through yesterday? Lost half their roof.
No, I didn't hear about that.
Straight line wind, everybody says it's rough.
That's right.
When stuff's going like this, it ain't straight line.
We only lost one short one. Neighbor was on the right of us, they lost a big limb out, one of their trees in front. And man, it's been killed. There's a tree in front of us, out there. Chainsaw to get it clear.
Last Tuesday, I didn't know anything had happened, and I drove to the south. So, y'all watch the trail. I did. He said, yeah. I said, I noticed it. Bobby was in Nashville keeping ring. I didn't know. Just over on your side yard, right by the road. He'll be there when he gets home. That's exactly right. You right at the tractor. It wasn't that bad though, it was a smaller tree, he just cut it up and see it. Actually, they got it today.
Any comments? That big already has one. Everybody has.
Make sure you make enough records so we all can turn it on.
Seen it today on the website. Might be part of it, there's a bunch of them got a dream.
next year.
That's normal.
Well, I'm missing two aldermen, so once they get back in, we will reconvene the third one. We'll go ahead and reconvene the meeting, and we're gonna start with, number 4, which is approval and/or corrections of minutes of the prior meetings. We have 4.1, regular board meeting, April 28th, 2025. 4.2, called board meeting, May 8th, 2025, and 4.3, called board meeting, May 15th, 2025. Assuming we've all looked at those, and, there's not any corrections to be made, I'll entertain a motion to approve all 3 of those. Okay, have a motion, have a second? Call the roll, please.
Fred Ellis. Roger Lofton.
Yes.
Jimmy White.
Yes.
Gordon Wildridge.
Yes.
Gabe Williams.
Yes.
Sandra Wood.
Yes. Okay, number 5 is comments from the mayor. The mayor is out of state. He is attending a funeral of a family friend. And then I just learned that Alderman Rhodes is out. His wife is in the hospital, so he's not here tonight. So we need to remember that family in your prayers. Okay, number 6 is unfinished business. Does the board have any unfinished business that they want to discuss? Seeing none, we're going to move on to number 7, which is new business. 7.1 is discuss and approve Kenny Asble property disposition. We need a little bit more information on that. I just learned about that today, kind of what was going on with that. And we need to table that maybe till next month, till the mayor gets back and we get a little bit more information on exactly what is needing to be done. So,
I'll make that motion.
okay.
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second. Call the roll, please.
Roger Lofton.
Yes.
Jimmy White.
Yes.
Gordon Wildridge.
Yes.
Gabe Williams. Sandra Wood.
Yes.
Fred Ellis.
Yes.
7.2 is discuss and approve the second reading of an ordinance adopting the purchasing policy. This is the second reading. Is there anybody that has any discussion on that? I know somebody had talked about the emergency purchase the last time, but I think that was pretty much self-explanatory how that would work. But Cody's here if you have any questions for him on that. Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
have been in the zoning since 2008, 9, and 10. There were some possible conflicts or misinterpretation. Landscaping has been required around loading and parking spaces. It was only around loading and parking spaces when it's adjacent to a residential district or property. In order to be consistent, there's some areas that the planning commission might want some discretion about buffering in between commercial or industrial properties themselves. There's also the fact that nonprofits don't really fit in these typical categories on page 17. So that's the intent behind adding non-residential to the list of categories. And all of the provisions, again, around the perimeter remain the same.
Does anybody on the board have any questions for Mr. Taylor about this?
Will this require a site plan or something like this?
It depends on the, whether it's a new construction or an addition, but the landscaping has been in place and it was required by certificates of occupancy as well.
But will it require a site plan?
Not necessarily. Again, administratively, it could be reviewed, but, if there were new construction, a new building addition, then it would require a site plan. And again, the site plan has been in the provisions probably since the mid-90s.
That'll go to the zoning board, is that right?
Planning commission, yes. Well, the BZA may review uses where they could, influence or require, landscaping as well.
Okay, so there will be a judgment call based on what they decide.
Somewhat, yes, sir.
So it's not anything in concrete.
Well, it's concrete around the perimeter, but a lot of times it's not feasible. Like if you've got a shopping center, an existing parking lot, a lot of my communities have talked about using flower pots or flower beds or something like that. It depends on the feasibility of the site, to be honest. So it's not every time, and again, the BZA and Planning Commission would have some discretion.
They do now, correct?
Yes, sir.
If we don't change anything, they do.
Yes, sir. This is just clarification.
This is just something that you wanted clarification.
Well, I thought it needed clarification.
Anyone else on the board have any questions about that?
Have we had any issues?
I've only been back a year, so I don't know of any issues. Maybe neighbors may have complained administratively or to the city or something, and maybe not. Again, it was just an issue that kind of got brought up, and I thought, let's go ahead and clarify some things.
Who brought the issue up?
What's that?
Who brought the issue up?
It was just mentioned by staff. It wasn't mentioned about a specific use or anything of that nature.
You said it was staff?
Staff, yes, sir. I don't remember who. I think some of the planning commission members brought it up too.
I don't remember who exactly who said it.
Did y'all discuss this?
We did.
What was the general consensus?
That it wasn't gonna change anything, and if I remember correctly, the board was okay with it. But what we discussed mostly was like on back on 24, 25, just clarifying exactly what industry did. Is that not correct, Chris?
Yes, sir, that's what I recall.
He made the changes. There were some that were not listed individually. It was sort of generic, and he went in and specifically
brought up on the industrial.
Right, but we're on the landscaping right now.
Right.
So we don't really have to do anything if we choose not to, right, Cody? I mean, we're not out of order. Yeah.
It really doesn't change anything if we do something.
No,
Or
sir.
it don't.
It just clarifies that, landscaping can be, proposed or required between uses, again, industrial, commercial, industrial, things of that nature. And like you say, they can require it now.
Any more questions? I'll entertain a motion to approve or not to approve. Okay, have a motion, to have a second? Last call for a second. Okay, motion failed. Okay, 7.4 is discuss and approve the ordinance amending the zoning text relative to heavy industrial side yard. That's what you were
This is
talking
what
about,
we,
yeah.
this is what we.
So you
Yes,
want to tell us
sir.
about that?
The 25 feet is something that I had, years ago, I'd noticed, and it never came up, and, I never took the initiative to, recommend 25 feet. The way it's written now, the side yard in an industrial district, if it's next to residential, would meet their requirement, and that could be as little as 10 feet or 15 feet. Whereas, if a building is built and ever converted to a different use, being 10 foot from a property line might not allow traffic circulation or parking or big trucks to drive around the side as freely as the 25 feet. So that's the reason for the 25. And if it was next to residential, you'd really want more space and more of a buffer between that than you would other uses. So that's part of the reason for the 25. And then it helps in administration and prospective businesses coming in, if they can see their use in the zoning rather than have to wait for interpretation. So again, as Mr. Ellis pointed out, the manufacturing industries not else classified are already in there. The only thing is, I stepped it down one level of description and included all the uses that are under that category. And then if there was one that was missed, the use on appeal would allow for, discussion by the Board of Zoning Appeals. And if they didn't want to make an interpretation, they could recommend it to the Planning Commission or the City Board for amendment, and then it would go through the amendment process if necessary.
So basically, if a company wanted to come in, just where everybody understands, that is not specifically listed, they still have an avenue to come in.
Oh, yes.
Yes. So even though it's not listed, even though a lot was individually added, they still have the opportunity to go. There is a process for them to still come in.
Yes, and the BCA typically is faster than the amendment process because you have to have 2 readings and a public hearing. But if they thought there was a question or it needed more clarification or an actual amendment, they could always recommend it to the Planning Commission and or the City Board for an actual amendment. And this is the heavy industrial. So a lot of things that are intended to go here wouldn't maybe be compatible with other uses around town. So it's M2 district for that.
What is the setback requirement right now in heavy industrial, is it 25 or 35 feet?
Let me see. The front yard's 35, rear yard's 25, and again, the side yard, if it's next to residential, it would use that setback. And that can be as little as 15 feet, 10 feet. I don't really have them memorized, but it's a lot smaller than the side yard would be. And again, that would curtail or obstruct traffic circulation, parking, and if the building was ever used for something else, again, you want a little more circulation around industrial uses.
Correct me if I'm not wrong, but I believe it's already got a 25-foot setback in M2 already, and there's a 25-foot.
No, sir, that's why it's proposed, it's 25 foot.
So
Now, it was proposed as the residential setback. So if you've got a residential property next door, it would use the residential setback. The red is the part that's changed.
But if it's in the M2, if it's in heavy industrial, it's already 25 foot.
It's 35 for the front yard, 25 on the rear, or if it's next to residential, it would be the setback of the residential property.
But what you're saying is though, the M2, it covers everything, not just industrial park itself or something like that.
Yes, sir, it would cover every M2 district. I'm sorry, I misunderstood
But it does
this question.
And I was under the impression it's already 25 foot.
If it's been changed, I was unaware. So if it's 25 foot now, y'all can still, what's that, sir?
It's not 25 foot. 15.
That's what again, it depends on what kind of residential district it's next to.
Well, it's strange, when I built my building, both times I was told it's 25 foot.
Was it M2 or BM or, okay. And I may have reviewed it back in the day. But, it's been a long time ago.
Is it next to residential?
Well, no, I just for him to.
Yeah. He's asking M2 to M2, two industrial buildings. What's the setback?
Probably, I can't remember off the top of my head.
That's what you're asking.
Yeah, I mean, you got two things going on here. You got industrial park and have setbacks on the buildings. I've always been told it's 25 foot. That's what I've been told.
Okay.
And then, I'm just telling you what I was told.
No, sir.
I didn't question it, that's what they said. But now you're coming and saying it's not so, but you're also implying that if it's in where you have residential then, it is not necessarily where you can do it, they get back. But residential is 15 foot, is that not right?
Yes,
That's the minimum.
So that applies to the person, the residential person that's building a house next to a heavy industrial.
no, sir, this would apply inside the M2 district. For M2 district properties that are next to residential, they would have to meet the 25.
So it never has been that way.
Well, again, the one I read said it shall meet the residential setback, for side yards.
What is it, Cody? 15 or 25?
I'm not sure.
I thought R4 used to be as little as 10, R1 could be as much as 15. So there's variability in the residential districts, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, one other quick thing, so if it's commercial, we'll say if it's rental property, that would be considered commercial.
Well, if it's multiple family, that would be potentially residential.
Not commercial.
No, sir.
I'm just a little confused is what it is. I don't really understand. I do understand what he's asking and what he's saying, but evidently we've been going with some guidelines that's not really what it was in the beginning.
But if we change to this, it would be what you think it is anyway.
Right.
So I mean, if we make a
Yeah,
change,
Yeah, it cleans it up, sir.
it just cleans it up. But we're not doing anything that we didn't already think was going on, some of us, or
And Mr. Williams, I'm sorry, I had never been, spoken with you, but no, sir, that's a good point.
Any more questions from the board?
make motion.
We have a motion to approve, do I have a second? I have a second. Call the roll, please.
Jimmy White. Gordon Wooldridge.
No.
Gabe Williams. Sandra Woods.
Yes.
Fred Ellis.
Yes.
Roger Lofton.
7.5, Cody, this will be you. It is discuss and approve resolution for NIDEC ERA.
This is on page 34. We're asking the board to approve a resolution to apply for a Delta Regional Authority grant on behalf of NEDEC for building improvements, specifically to add HVAC to the building. This would be a grant request of $3,990,000. No match on behalf of the city. We're strictly the administrative entity, and it's a pass-through grant.
Who applies for it, us or them?
We have to apply for it on their behalf, but they have to sign an accountability agreement.
Who handles the bond issues?
For
I mean,
the actual project,
yeah, who's the legal representation? Would we do it just you, or would we have somebody else facilitate?
it depends if the HVAC system has to be bid out or not. If it does, then yes, we handle all, that's our responsibility.
So we don't handle any of the money, that's all I'm trying to get, we don't handle any funds?
We handle all funds.
So we would have to, okay.
Yes. We submit the reimbursements on their behalf, and then we receive the funds and then pass it on to them.
That's a grant, they're requesting us to do that.
Yes. They can't receive the funds directly. It has to
We
pass
can,
through.
we have, we,
We did this back in, I think it was 2017. They were doing some electrical expansion, and they needed a new switch gear. We applied on our behalf for that one.
I'm just looking for any potential liability risk that we could have. We don't give the money before we receive it or anything like that. Question, I mean,
Correct.
is there any risk at all of timing of getting funds or receiving funds? Or?
If y'all recall, a couple of years ago, we had funding for the same grant for a different entity that didn't meet jobs requirement. Now, the development district requires that accountability agreement to be signed before this grant is applied for.
But do we give the money before we receive, before they get the money? Like, we have to fund it. There's no timing issues of giving the money versus receiving the money.
We don't cut them a check until we receive our portion to send to them.
And this covers if there's overruns, there's no liability to the city if there are overruns.
Strictly on the company.
So the agreement with the contractor will be with the company and them, or?
Yes.
Okay, so we don't have to sign anything with the contractor that's performing the service. So that's where the liability could come in if you had discrepancies.
any more questions? I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So,
I have a motion and a second. Call the roll, please.
Gordon Wildridge,
Yes.
Gabe Williams, Sandra Wood,
Yes.
Fred Ellis, Roger Lofton,
yes.
Jimmy White.
Next on the agenda, Justin. It's 7.6 is discuss and approve proposals for the bill printing. You want to explain that to the board, please?
It's been over 5 years since we reached out to see other options out there, so we just put it out to bid to see if any other companies had offered more, if it was cheaper. So the risk ended up being, is who we use today, and that's who I'm proposing that we continue to use.
And you're satisfied with their service?
Yes.
So CSG, who's the cheapest?
Arista, cost-wise, is pretty much the cheapest, per unit price and the way they've done it, so. We looked at cost plus service, and we're looking at adding, another service within the mailer, so.
How long have you been using it?
19. Since 2019.
2019?
$1,000.98, 15 loans, 13 readers.
Entertain a motion to approve the, write-off of gas, water, wastewater.
Make a motion.
We have a motion, do I have a second? Call the roll, please.
Sandra Wood.
Yes.
Brad Ellis.
Yes.
Roger Lofton.
Yes.
Jimmy White.
Yes.
Gordon Wildridge. Gabe Williams.
Thank you. Okay, the next item on the agenda is 7.8 is discuss, approve the first reading of an ordinance to adopt the 2025-2026 budget. This is only the first reading that we have tonight. We'll have another reading, the June meeting. The mayor said we would not be having any budget meetings in between that. All of these funds here, the gas, the wastewater, all of them do require 2 readings now. The general fund was 2, but now they all, according to the comptroller, that has changed, and so you do have to have 2 readings for that.
Is that, so that's something new that just came out
Yes.
recently?
Yes, from the comptroller. All of it. You have to have 2 readings for your wastewater, your utilities, yes. Okay, so, you want to start with your department heads. I'm sure we've had 10 days to look at these budgets. And the city school budget, Kaywood School has been added to that. And I do see Superintendent Cindy Haddon is here, so if you have questions for her, she'll be available to answer those. So we've got the general fund first. You want to start with your department heads if you have any questions for them. It's however you want to start.
For the general fund, me personally, I would have liked a full board, especially in the mayor's budget.
You can do a first reading, anything in the second reading can be changed. Anything can be added, anything can be taken away, but you've got to get past that first reading in order to do that.
Is this, has anything changed since the first time we were given this? By any department, besides the without the code?
Not that I'm aware of.
Chief Milton, did anything change with you? Ms. Jones, code, anything change with you?
No, but I do want to point out, it was requested at the last meeting to change the appropriation from the rescue squad to Lexington Dive. That dollar amount is still in here, but it does not reflect Lexington Dive yet. That was just an oversight, not changing the name. If that's the intent of the board.
Casey?
No, ma'am.
Justin? So the only thing that changed was what Mr. Ellis had requested was the COLA to be taken out. So that's the only thing that's changed with all of them. Okay. So I think we had the first call meeting, I think it was May 14th, May 15th. May 15th, so we've had 10 to 12 days to go over everything.
Only the original budget, we only got the one without COLA on
Right.
file. We just got that one.
Right, but the only thing that changed was the amount of that. We had everything else that was in there, and I'm assuming that we all reached out to the department heads and asked the questions that needed to be asked.
To not approve anything tonight, where is that gonna put us as far as getting it done by the time we're supposed to?
We have to have a 10-day notice in the paper prior to the last and final reading. We don't know what to include in the last and final
tell us a little bit about the budget?
Sure. Of course, we've made a move to TISA, and it's been good for us. It's been a steady inflow of more money, which has helped tremendously with the governor's goal of raising the starting salary of beginning teachers to no less than 50. And we were close, but this year will be our first year to be over. For a starting teacher, it'll be at 50,400, which, that's big. We're higher than Germantown for starting teachers, so that's big. Us in the county, we're neck and neck with salaries, so. This year, it looks like we'll have close to $500,000 more coming in from the state level. And that helps, but it helps because insurance is set to go up another 7%. You all don't know that yet, that's what it's gonna go up. Right at 6.8. You know, things go up every year and it just takes it. I'm not telling you, it goes up every year. We've had some, big accomplishments. We were one of very few districts in the state of Tennessee to have the letter grades that we had, the ratings, and we had a cash award of $500,000 with no stipulation, we could use it as we needed to, which was beneficial to us because there were several things we wanted to do, plus we wanted to reward our teachers, and so we did, because we wouldn't have gotten it without them. And, but everything's pretty much spelled out. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer.
Y'all are doing a good job. I'm proud of you guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
The grades, they're really excelling in their test scores.
They've done well, and, it's not me, it's the folks at school. I just get to sit back and go, attaboy.
So are you adding students, do you think?
We actually went up at the beginning of the year about 30 some odd kids. The county went down, but our kids weren't necessarily those kids, so I don't know. Ours were more move-in to the city, so I'm not sure where that discrepancy went, but, you know, we're eager to see what's gonna happen with the voucher program. We're eager to see how that's gonna affect us. We have this year as our hold harmless year, according to the governor. You know, we're at hold harmless, so this is the lowest we'll go. So they decide that's not in effect anymore. And, we were in a good place. We'll get a bigger piece of the pie because our percentage is higher than it was last year and years before, so we're actually gaining some ground as far as our percentage of taxes from the county. And, so, you know, we're just working hard every day.
Appreciate everything you do.
Thank you.
Back to the vouchers, do you have any, I know that was a concern with a lot of folks, so what do you foresee that doing if anything, or do you know yet?
I've had a few questions, and it's one, she didn't quite understand what it was. She thought that they got paid to come to school. No. But the other one was looking at doing kindergarten at Esther's Montessori, because it is a Christian-based school, and she wanted one more year there. They'd spent a year and a half there, her child, and she wanted to continue kindergarten. That is somebody that will go for, because Esther has actually been approved. So if she was one of the first 20,000, she probably got it. And I haven't talked to her, but those are the only two questions
So
I
it'll
had.
be fairly limited, I mean, on the initial front anyway.
Yeah, I mean, as of right now, they opened it up May 15th, and instead of 20,000, they were gonna allow 20,000, but they had 38,000 applicants. A lot of them were from the big four, Shelby County, Davidson County, Knox County, and Hamilton. But, you know, it will trickle down, it'll go around. We don't have that many local schools that are on the list
Esther's right now is the only one in Henderson County that is approved to be on that list, but, right now that's the only one. I know that, Good News, I think is the name of the church, they're gonna open up a K through 12. They already have one, but they're gonna bring it in the city. They bought the bowling alley. And, they're gonna open up there. That may change the look of a few things, I don't know. And, there'll be it'll be different. You know, the sad thing that holds us is we're held to a different level because they don't even have to be certified teachers. So that might be something parents should think about. Yeah, but working hard. If you're ever out and about, you want to come see, come on. Any more questions for Sandy? Thank you, appreciate it.
I do have a question about the budget. Is there any capital projects included in this budget?
Are you talking general fund or all of them together?
I'm pretty much.
Very few. And I know that because I talked to them and I found out, so very few. But I'm gonna let the department head speak on that.
Less in the general fund than most of the others. Less in the general fund than some of the others.
Yeah.
Utilities and stuff have more
Yeah.
projects. General fund has very few capital projects.
Can we just start with anybody in particular? Brad, you just so first in the line, we'll go down the line. And I guess the first question would be to you, would be, Ms. Jordan's question, is capital projects.
So as far as capital projects go, I've got three in particular that I was going to include on here. The first being, we're in some early discussions with making an interconnection to the Benton County electric system. This will be made at the interstate near, or at exit 126 off I-40. It's primarily driven due to the businesses we serve at exit 126 they're about 12 miles away from the substation, and they see a lot of interruptions. And on the flip side, on Benton County side of the interstate, they are kind of in a similar situation. So if we make an interconnection and our power goes down, they can pick up those customers via automatic switching. And on the flip side, when their customers go down, we pick up their customers too. So it's just a reliability project for the businesses at exit 126. So that's in there. The total cost of that one is we're projecting to be about $200,000 to $250,000. That would be at least split in half between us and Benton County, and we're in talks with Love's Truck Stop to split that three ways. And like I said, this is very early discussions. Nothing's been done yet. It's just something we're budgeting for in case it doesn't materialize.
Which line is
It's not a line item. It would probably fall in. It'd probably fall in that 401-583 for any extensions, and anything that's depreciated would be on the depreciated section. On the second page, line 401. Are you on LES or Lexington?
94 and 95, page 94 and 95.
And then the other two capital projects I had were, we're phasing out some of our older, protective equipment that's on the distribution lines. In particular, what I'm talking about is our reclosers. We're changing out about 5 of those a year, and we're going with a more, it's kind of more modernized. They're vacuum operated rather than, they don't contain any oil in them. And they'd also be integrated with our SCADA system, so you can call it a smart grid technology improvement. We're doing 5 of those a year, and, that's about $120,000. And then, we've also been told that our truck radios, all the equipment associated with our truck radios is obsolete, not supported anymore, so we're looking at a complete overhaul of our radio equipment. And that's, about $187,000. That would include all the equipment at the tower sites, and then all the handheld radios, truck radios, office radios, all that.
That's the question, what's the parking that put a industrial park that close to the interstate?
Yes.
And how big is that park?
It's relatively small. I don't know the acreage. There's not any industrial sites there now. It's just a developed industrial park. I've been told they're looking at smaller manufacturing, but they're actively recruiting there now. And that's another selling point for this interconnection
I was
too.
gonna say, so that's one reason why you'd be running with the out in case the industrial park comes to happen.
Yeah, that's been part of the discussion as well.
It's the, y'all break it interstate between you and Benton County?
We serve the south side of exit 126, and Benton County serves the north side.
Okay, so it is interstate does break it,
Mhm.
that's where you go to. So Love's on your side of it,
Love is on our side.
okay, and they're willing to have that cost.
We're having discussions with them. They haven't committed to anything, but we've posed the question, and we're telling them.
Will y'all take any consideration on when they work on industrial park, you have any extra?
Say it one time.
Will you take in consideration if they may do something in the industrial park and add
Yeah.
those to do again?
In general, you support your budget and feel that every capital expenditure is in there that's needed.
Yeah, I feel good about the budget, everything that's in there that I'm proposing we do this next fiscal year, so it's a clean budget in my opinion, and that's what I propose.
You wanna talk about your Lexington budget?
I can, no capital projects on the LexNet side. The main goal right now is just to get this entire project completed, closed out, and move on with that. So there's no particular capital project related to this.
How close are we now?
I anticipate that we'll be project complete by end of July, end of August, somewhere in there. And we'll be closing it out and, considering it completed probably shortly after that.
How many users do you have right now?
How many users? Roughly 5,100.
Y'all provide the way out to interstate, and what it's put on.
You have, LES meter, the goal is you'll have the opportunity to have LexNet service.
And one question, I went down into the budget, that we're gonna have a meeting, conference with Mr. about the power.
I didn't talk to him, but, Michael Mays, the guy that was here with him, he did call me and I had a conversation with him.
So y'all have a meeting.
Yeah, he was very reasonable and understanding. It was a good conversation.
I thought it went.
Yeah.
So my question is, looking at the with and without COLA, each, I guess, different line, its salary is included. So did I take that 2% or 2.5% out of the total operating expense, or do I add each of them up?
Now, the salaries are embedded in all the, or not all the different, but several of the different
Yes,
line
yeah,
items.
and
So,
I see the difference,
yeah.
like, for overhead lines, it's like $16,000 difference, and I take that 16,000 just for
Yeah.
salary.
That would be a
and
rule of thumb, yeah.
yeah. look at it right, is it a total of like 71,000?
Total, that would be on the LES side, and then you got your LexNet side.
Yeah, but.
Total, it's about $107,000 difference.
107? That's, I had like 1/6 and some change, so, yeah.
That includes the taxes, retirement
Taxes and
contributions and all that stuff.
That's correct.
107 is LexNet and LES.
That's right.
I thought that's what we talked about.
That's right.
Well, my thoughts on it is, before we vote to approve or disapprove, I still would like to see what we're gonna do with the general fund before we say yea or nay to yours and the same, I'm gonna ask Justin the same question. Their budget is what we're gonna do with the general fund, because the budget that the mayor gave us had nothing in it for general fund. I'm not saying that we are or are not going that way, but before we make a decision on the utilities, I'd like to figure out general fund. Does that make sense what I'm asking? Because the question then, if, since precedents have been made in the past before you assumed your position, if it got denied, your budget with the COLA, would you still give the 2% or 2.5%?
I would respect the board's decision.
Okay, appreciate that, but that still is in the back of my mind.
My proposal is with the 2.5%
Yes.
COLA.
Yes.
I understand the board's concern with all of it, and I'll respect the board's decision, but my proposal would be with the COLA.
Yes.
Does the rest of the board want to do what Fred suggested, move over to the general fund and wait?
Sure.
Thank you, Brad, I appreciate
Do
it.
them all.
What?
So we gotta do them all. Yeah.
All right, so let's jump back to the general fund. Cody, you want to start? Anybody want to ask any questions? I know you do, so what do you want to ask? I want to ask one question. Is the budget physically responsible?
Yes.
What about operation?
No.
So when we say operation, we know that would mean like,
Taking care of our people. Like I said, treating everyone equally and whatever the board decision or raises, applying it uniformly.
an operation to perform the
Yes,
Operation.
and reduce employee turnover.
Capital projects or equipment and that type of thing.
Correct. I'll let the other department heads speak on that more, but, especially if there are things that they're really needing that are not included. Now, I get, the wish list is different, but the things that they're needing that are not included.
So there are things that will get individual church. There are things that we need for their employees to perform their duties and serve our citizens that are not in there.
We'll let each of the department heads speak for themselves, yes.
I'm gonna go back to Fred's talk about the code. Before we get there, we talked about last year, there is no longer a salary survey, that was taken out in March. But everyone within the city besides general fund was given an adjustment. And we told the general fund at that time we were gonna, didn't know if we'd have the money. So we told them we'd wait till January, which we did. Talked about it being supplements and this and that, didn't know we was gonna have the money. Talked about it again in February, didn't know we was gonna have the money. In March, the motion was made and passed that we did away with the salary survey. And we discussed what they would get, if anything, budget time. Now, budget time, I spoke with Cody about the monies that the general fund has. He time and time again that, didn't know we was gonna have the money, didn't know we was gonna have the money. The CFO was telling, I need to go talk with him, telling me that the money is there for this, so I can't, that's been the reason that we've given the whole time. I can't see any other reason not to address this. The only other reason that I could think of is, think the worth of our city employees is that of the other employees, because there's just no other reason now not to give it to them. So I would like to see that addressed before we decide about the goal.
Are you talking about adjusting to the minimum? What?
There is no, just adjusting to what it would have been, because we no longer have the salary survey in the general fund. Everywhere else, not the general fund. So just equal what we would have, and the merit raises, of course, wouldn't be there anymore, because that was part of the salary survey, so you really can't include those. And am I correct in what I said about the funds?
Yes.
This is just to get the general fund employees up to where
They would,
they would have been.
had we known we were gonna have them. And make that part of this budget.
So,
You say add it into,
Yes.
so then my question would be, is that new money that has come in from increased tax revenue, or is that money a surplus from last year? So if we had given it last year, would we have had enough money to cover it?
We would have.
So there is a surplus for this year.
Yes, I guess the best example would be on page 8182, is the fund balance summary. I'll start at page 82, we'll kind of work in reverse. As the Mayor pointed out at the last call meeting, our minimum fund balance requirement is $2.5 million for unassigned fund balance. We're projected to end the current year with an unassigned fund balance of $5.8 million. And projected to finish fiscal year 26 if the budget is approved as is, with an unassigned fund balance of well over $6 million. So quite a bit more than our minimum unassigned. Now, do we need to just have the minimum? No.
And that excludes several capital project expenditures that we spent last year that we wouldn't have this year, if we took them out.
Correct.
But I guess the question that I'm asking.
Back to your question, revenue. Sales tax is up. Marginally, but it is up.
And to do what you're saying, what was that amount? I know y'all. For implement that.
So the 2% adjusted minimum, if you're working off the salary survey.
What 2%?
Well, originally it was 5% part of the salary survey, but the board only adopted 3% for the employees last year. So 2% adjusted minimum to make up the difference that the other departments receive.
Is how much?
That plus the COLA is $261,000.
Minus the total.
2% adjusted minimum is strictly $99,000.
How much?
$99,000.
And that is to get them equal to what of last year, what was given, is the 99,000.
What the other departments were given a year ago.
And it's 99, and then 261 is the 2.5%, is that it?
Yes.
So 2.5 is.
So
Those without benefits.
both of those numbers are without benefits?
Correct. Worst case scenario, 113,000. That'd be the max. say that, we have several positions that receive reimbursements based off their hourly rate. So it's not gonna go up 100% of what the budgetary effect is not gonna be 100% of this new salary figure, because they're getting it reimbursed part of it. Like the city garage, the dispatchers, some of the officers who work assigned details.
So we had the money last year to give a good building.
Depends on how you look at it. How much do you want to keep an unassigned fund balance?
How much we supposed to?
The bare minimum is 3.5. Now, the greater that number, the better our bond rating.
Right. Had we been preaching it over the years, and unassigned fund balance was going down, and I didn't want to stabilize it after we take it on down.
That's when the rainy day fund was created. Y'all could look at replenishing the rainy day from when it was, you took money out 3 years ago.
What I'm saying is, we've been advised, or spoken to, that we should put that money back on that, and keep the rainy day fund. Even though you got unassigned balance on it, we're well above that, we know that. But the rainy day fund, what the mayor elaborated to several times, was we were drawing money out of it and spending it down, and we had to stop at some point in time. And if not take anything out, just be equal to, or have a little excess every year, we should, we have not take the rate back. Is that what we advocated, or you not here now, I mean, that's what we advocated every year, we take the money out.
We can figure whatever amount y'all like to set aside into the rainy day.
Historically, how much has been in the rainy day?
We've used, one time we go about $7 or $8 million.
I don't think we had that much in the rainy day fund.
We took out about $1
I think we went
Yeah.
like 6 years in a row.
We had 2.8, 2.9 at one time, probably.
But we didn't always have the
Six,
rainy day
five,
fund.
six.
We,
Oh, yes,
Did the
so
rainy
shy of 3 million.
So Cody, I'll say it this way.
We took money out one
Yeah.
time.
well, I know, but we didn't have.
So are expenditures equal to or less than our revenues this budget year?
The current year or the fiscal year 26?
Okay, last year, let's start with that, current year, then we'll talk about fiscal year 26.
That'll be on page 81. So the actual audited figures for fiscal year 24, we had total expenditures of 10.7 million and total revenues of a little over 11 million.
So and that was the first year, am I right, that that's because we've been doing this several years, and I think this year will be the first year that that's been the case for a while.
But I would add the caveat that had those TDOT projects kicked off, we would not have had 1.3 million revenues over expenditures.
So really, we did have more expenditures than revenues.
So for
If you take out
the
dedicated,
current fiscal year, we're projected to have total expenditures of 9.4 million and total revenues of 10.7.
What are those TDOT?
but we have no capital, but yes,
Yeah.
I understand. We basically cut everything out that,
Other than the grants that we had for the sidewalk.
we have nothing in there to.
And, you know, I think something food, something like that.
Line or anything.
So to Gordon's point, I think that's what he's saying. If we should be, every year, in my opinion, we should have, expenditures that are equal to or less than our revenues. And we've gone for just about every year I've been on the board, we have not done that. And I've called that savings account in the past. If we have to dip in our savings account every year to balance the budget, that's not sustainable. So I think that's what Gordon's referred to.
So-
Next year, you're showing me the total expenditures would be $10,465,000, and the total revenue would be $10,924,000. Is that correct?
Yes, so that'd be excess of revenues over expenditures of 469,000. But if you'll drop down to where it says total other financing sources,
Yep.
we're proposing to transfer out to the capital projects fund $230 $91,000. And that amount is for the grant matches of those TDOT sidewalk projects.
So that's gonna narrow that down, the 459,864 you can have.
Correct.
So we're gonna be like we was this year, we're gonna be about $200,000 mark, like we was this year.
Yes.
Pretty close, so it's almost a wash like we did last year.
So that means though, if we add this 99 or this 113, that takes it down even further.
The difference of revenues and expenditures, yes.
And if you take it and add the total with the 2.5%, you're almost at equal. I mean, that 40-69 now was, what, less than 200?
If you're strictly talking difference in revenues and expenditures, yes.
So my question I had asked earlier, historically, rainy day fund, you said 3 million, so it's down 2.1, you said.
That might not be, it's all been
Well,
between what it is and that, it's not historically been that high all the
No,
time.
it's not, what Roger was saying is true, we took a different amount in different years, but one year
We had gotten that high.
we got that high because basically they had a wish list, and what we did was, we said, okay, we're gonna try to get everything in there, bring the wish list in, and we did what we needed to do, bring it. We said, okay, going forward, we're not gonna do that anymore, we'll look at each thing on an individual basis. That's what we did, we give them, they brought in here, and asked what they wanted, police cars, trucks, street department, everybody wanted, we give it to them. And we said, okay, that's it, we did it, take care of it, we'll start phasing it out, depreciating it out, swapping out as we need it, that's what's gonna have to happen, so if we go back to doing that, we want to deplete your rainy day fund even more. And what we're trying to do, based on what the mayor asked us to do, is quit doing that and spend what we got and have the revenue to buy or purchase what we need based on our total revenue we take in. That's what's happening, so if you dig in anything right now, it's gonna come out of rainy day fund.
Also keep in mind, those grant matches, that's one time.
So the money we're matching that with, we should have.
That,
In excess.
that's correct, that's not, that's one time, that's not recurring.
We have, let's see, we got, besides the sidewalks, there's something else we got.
Yes, there's
Playground?
about 3 TDOT sidewalk projects, and then there's also a fire department FEMA grant, that we don't know if we've been awarded.
But then we had, the park, the playground.
That's strictly liquor money and ARPA funds.
Okay. So that's it, that's all we have at present time, we would not to match.
Correct.
But, taking what Fred said, it was almost bring us down to even a little bit less than what was over there.
And our ending fund balance is gonna end up being, well, the highest it's been in a long time.
It was 22 or 23, because you and I have talked about this different times, we took out 1.7 out of that rainy day fund.
Now, you can,
1.7.
We have the same thing.
Well, yeah, but one year we took out 1.7.
put off things though that you need, they're gonna cost more in the future. So even if your fund balance is healthy, you can have money in the bank, but if you're putting off, you're deferring maintenance or deferring things that you're gonna need in the future to keep up the same type of operations and service to the departments that were done in the past, it's gonna cost everybody, the ratepayers, more in the future, because we have deferred and put it off, and that's kind of what we get into. So if it's rotating police cars, or if it's putting off certain types of equipment or projects that we're gonna need in the foreseeable future, and we just say, okay, we're gonna put it off till we have the money, if you know you have to do that, that's still not wise. It's gonna get you in further, deeper in hole. So cash in the bank earns 2 or 3%, but every year you put off something you need, it's gonna inflate by 10% plus. Those numbers don't matter. I mean, that doesn't work. So it's gonna cost you more in the long run by putting off things that you need. Now, not wish list. I agree that there's things that we've done in the past that we've not needed and we've had a wish list. I agree. But a lot of things that I know we did, we needed them, and we have some this year that we need that are not in here, that we're just deferring to future years. And that's fine if we choose to do that, but it's gonna catch up. And the ratepayers are the ones that are gonna bear that burden. Instead of having a gradual increase in expenses, it may be 5 years from now, or 10 years from now, we're gonna have a big increase in expenses.
We've had gradual increases for the last 3 or 4 years. No major increases. And we've kept our balance pretty well even what we've had. And I think the chief will still probably get two police cars in there when we shoot. Yeah.
Let me say this. I put that in my drug fund balance, my drug fund budget, if I have the funding,
Yeah.
but if I don't have the money there, then I won't. So it's not coming out of the general
All
fund.
right, let's back up. We got 2, you rec 2, you're getting 2, so you don't have 4, if you get 1, you end up with 5 in a 1-year period. Is that a correct statement?
We rec 2, we replaced it with 2.
And we give you the money to buy 2.
No, I've only bought 2.
Huh?
I've only bought 2.
Well, how come we adjusted fund balance 380?
We had to move the money for the reimbursement. That's what we did.
To reimburse what?
The reimbursement, because the reimbursement for the total police cars wasn't sufficient to replace them, right? So I had to take some money out of the drug fund that had not been appropriated for that, add it to the insurance payoff to replace the 2 cars. That's what we did.
$300-something thousand. How much did the cars cost?
The cars are about 62,000. 61 and some change a piece.
So we buy
60.
1, 2.
We bought 2.
Bought 2.
We bought 2.
$120,000. So we put $388,000. Is that what we made the adjustment for?
Well, you also at the same time moved some money out of the drug fund to the federal drug fund, the equitable sharing fund, during the same move, okay? That was completely unrelated to the vehicle purchase. So you killed 2 birds with one stone. 75,000, I think. That's been,
I'm not arguing with you.
Right.
I agree with what Gabe said.
2 cars.
We need equipment, we need new stuff, we have budget for it, and yes, I agree with you. And probably this year, I've looked at, I mean, like Roger would like to vote on this tonight, but there's gonna be some capital money put in this. You need some, everybody needs some, so there's gonna be some that people's gonna ask for. The question is, how much can we afford? If we're saying that is done in this right here, right now. Casey, have you got anything, capital project money put in here?
Yes, in different things.
What? How much you got in there?
Say what?
How much do you have put in here?
I'll have to go through each one of them because it's a lot.
$30,000 pool line.
You know, you got repair a pool liner at the park, that's $30,000. Then there were some other capitals at the park, like bleachers, work on some fences and the scoreboard and stuff like that I had in here, but got took out.
You know, put it as a dollar standpoint, that's what I'm trying to get to, is how much we're not putting in there. And you as a department head, do you support the budget that you're?
Well, I feel like the 5-year plan does us no good to do a 5-year plan. Because when that 5th year shows up and we have, say, a grapple truck, a police car, fire truck, whatever it is, it always gets kicked down the road. We don't get to purchase it that year.
costing taxpayers
And
money
if,
from
if
time.
we wanna go back to the way we were 20 years ago, that's the way it was. You'd spend the whole day to get something fixed, to go work it out.
So if you gradually keep spending some money in those areas every year, it doesn't put it off till having to spend it all at one time in the 5th year, or whatever year that it totally blows up.
It's gonna spend if you don't have it.
But you have to gradually, but if your expenditures are increasing more than revenues, okay, we can't, some expenditures we can't control. I guess that's the thing. Cost of equipment, cost of, projects, we can't control those costs. If we have to have them, we have to spend what it costs to do that. So if your revenues are not keeping up with what your expenditures are, this is where we're at, and that's what's gonna continue to happen. So either we gotta lower the services that we provide, or we have to start thinking about ways that we're gonna make these revenues equal or exceed the expenditures. And some expenditures, the department heads cannot, they can't control what a police car costs, they can't control what a project costs, or a scoreboard, or a set of bleachers, or whatever. That stuff we can't control those costs because the market sets that. That's not a salaries, just like salaries with employees. I would argue the market sets those rates. It's not set by us. You know, we have to acknowledge what the market sets salaries. I mean, that's competitive forces in our way our system works. So only thing you can do is not buy the thing that cost $20,000 a day that used to cost $10,000 last year, or you have to choose to pay it.
How about this approach? How much do we want to take out of rainy day fund, and then, once we get that number, we see what we can fit in, and if it don't fit in, we just don't do it.
You don't wanna take anything out of it.
Then that means no capital projects.
There's $5 something million there.
I mean,
2.5 to be.
Not
You
rainy
still got
day, I'm
money.
sorry, not a summer.
You still got money there.
Yeah. How much do we want to take out of that? That's the question.
And
And
spend money
like you
for it.
said, you're not gonna take out $500,000 or $750,000. So what is that number that we can always live on, and then we figure out what price we can afford?
You know, which one you're gonna put in there, what you're gonna do. Hard to say. You're gonna have to either put them in, take them out, or do what you want.
To me, it's six to one, half dozen the other. But if you don't know what you got to work with, put them all in, see where you're at, and then go and take them out. Or say, we've got $500,000, let's look at who has what, and if it doesn't make the cut, we take it out. So it is, however, it's really that simple. How much do we want to dip into it? Dip in enough to pay it all, to buy it all, which you said in the past you've done, or a set amount?
We went for years, I'll say this last thing, we went for years where they gave us budgets that had expenditures, and then we didn't choose to fund them for them. So this year, it's right the opposite. We need to figure out how we're gonna fund it, if they're gonna put it in there. That'd be my 2 cents. Because it makes no sense for them to add all their expenditures in there based on history, we've not.
And then we take, I see.
So,
I mean,
so the budget we have before us is balanced, okay? It's fiscally responsible, but we don't, I hadn't heard from everybody. I do want to hear everybody, every department head's answer. Do you support the budget that's presented? And then if yes or no, if you do, then we'll move on. I asked Brad that already. Brad supported it. So, each department head, if they support it, if they don't support it, then we can ask them what we're leaving out.
the big difference, not about you, just your budget, is all the other budgets have specific line items as to what that project is. The electric system, you don't know that project, and it's just based off of how your budget is. It's not anything against that.
Well, their revenues are.
Yeah, I mean, so side gets basically shortchanged because you can see it. This side gets automatically approved because you really can't see it. So I end up with a big pile of money here, and I deal with scraps over here. That's the way I see it.
But it's the revenue side, that's the thing, they're
Well,
all utilities, all
Yeah,
services.
but they're both revenue.
But perhaps exceeds expenditures. So that's the thing, is electricity more important than water? Is electricity more important than police service? And I'm not picking on Brad, they're just as, but they all are important to our community, that's all I'm gonna say. Not one of them, and Brad is through his team have done a great job matching up the rates that we charge our citizens to compensate for the service that they provide. And that's what has to happen. I mean, that's just the way it is. You know, things, if you ask him on his project, I assume they're costing more, his equipment's costing more, you know, so you can't have all that go up and not change rates, you know, so, over time. But if you gradually do it over time, it doesn't hit it all at one time.
Where we at?
General fund.
As a suggestion, or y'all want something different, y'all see what it would look like to replenish the rainy day fund prior to when we took money out 3 or 4 years ago?
Which is what I was asking, has that historically been?
Would y'all see it brought back to that same amount, basically replenished it?
How much?
I can't remember.
I'd like to see that over a period of time, I don't think you do it all at once. You gotta head in that direction, or you never gonna get there.
What do we have now?
$6 million, basically.
In a rainy day?
$979,000 in a rainy day. The fund is
About $6 million.
587 and some change, projected to be 6,062,000.
You take from there and put in the other, what you talking about?
I think that's what Cody Sands take, it's $1.5 million.
Yeah.
I have a unassigned, make that, 2.5 in rainy day, make that 4.5 in unassigned. Give or take a few dollars. And you have, 2.5 in one and 3.5 in another, which would equal your 6. Not 4, I mean 3.5 and 2.5.
Yeah, but that's not helping the budget. Right.
It's not affecting the budget, we're just replenishing,
Right.
and then we'll know that say, hey, we've got basically $900,000 in, unassigned that we can dip into.
It really helps our bond rating. Our last call from their use.
Which one?
This is
Rainy
something
day or
that they really
unassigned?
like on. Having a fund balance policy and meeting that policy.
So you combine rainy day and your.
Doesn't matter which fund.
Doesn't matter which fund.
you have.
Correct.
As long as we
They
got
like
money.
that, they just like to see a healthy fund balance.
So why would we replenish it? Why would we replenish
Our fund balance policy requires, well, it suggests that after you take money out of rainy day fund, you make strides to replenish it.
That doesn't necessarily mean all at one time. It's a little each year. When you can.
In good years, you sock away into the rainy day fund. In bad years, you draw from it. How much do you sock away in it? How much do you draw from it? That's a board decision.
Is that a good year?
So I say let's take at least $1.5 million out.
Out of what? Rainy day?
Unassigned.
You put rainy day,
Why not?
You don't think $1.5 million out of unassigned balance?
Or $1 million, I mean, if we're gonna, if the rule of thumb is when you have a good year, you replenish the rainy day,
It's not gonna make any difference.
I mean, it doesn't make a
You got the
difference.
same same
If
money.
it's just an accounting thing,
I totally agree, but that's not accomplishing what we set out to do here. What we tried to do was, are we gonna put any money in the general fund? We're talking about, are we gonna take it out? That's not, even me don't figure, I mean, how you figure that?
well, that's what I said, what, how much do we wanna take out to the general fund?
That's what we need money.
That was the question I asked earlier. I mean, what is that number? Is it 100,000, 200, 300, 400? As long as whatever we end up doing stays above 2.4. I mean,
It's the easiest thing to get people to afford, we have that minimum for that. Yeah. So we wanna squander that most of the money they can.
100,000. I mean,
I'm not, look, here's the whole thing. It's pretty simple right here. If you got capital projects, you have to know totally what you have to spend on capital projects. They have to, each one has to come before us and tell us what we want. Right? What Brad's done, Brad can handle his. Justin can probably, up here, Justin can probably handle it. It's gonna come down to the general fund, what it's gonna come down to. So we need to understand from the fire chief, from the street departments, what they're asking and what they're asking to put in there for capital fund project before we make a decision on what we're gonna spend and when we're gonna spend it. I don't like picking on a number, I have no idea what it is, an arbitrary number. If I give them $500,000, they're gonna spend $500,000. If they come up here and tell me they only need $322,000, we give them $322,000. But before I vote, I wanna know what that number is.
so instead of going to all the other ones, we probably should have went to those departments and they just see exactly what they need. That's in there already.
It's in here.
We know what they are.
It's in here, it's on the page, I mean, look,
Yeah,
my question is, how much does that total up to be? Okay? That's what I'd like to know, and how much can we afford? That's what we need to do. You get back to work, that's what they think. You get back to Rogers, talking about the 2% rate, okay? And I'm not talking about the college, but to bring everybody up that was left behind, because we had money in there to cover it, we had money in there. If we take that out, we need to decide on, I'm like him, we need to decide on that before we start spending money that we got in the general fund, so it is deleted from it, and that narrows that number down, so if we put capital project, that money will no longer be related to capital project.
I agree with that.
Yeah,
You agree with that?
That's what we're saying all along. I mean,
So he asked that we decide that first before we do all this, so I asked you that, that's all he said.
That way we know what we were,
We didn't know exactly what.
and they'll know what they,
That can be, and to your point, like you said, before you actually like to have a full board. So there in line with that, we'll discuss that, make that happen, to know what we're dealing with, and then if we want to do the capital project, we're gonna take it out, so thank you.
and the COLA. You know, that may be, after all that, you consider the COLA and the capital
Well,
project.
this is all after,
Yeah, yes, after that one thing, do we
that's all,
bring them up even?
that's all I'm saying.
So we could go ahead tonight and make that motion, if you got a second, and pass that, and then we could come back and see what we got to work on.
And you could
We would
always
have to
come back
have-
if you decided not to next meeting and change it. Yes?
It takes two votes.
But we would have to have a call meeting in between that, would we not,
Right.
Cody? I mean,
No, say agree. We can change it.
well, that's true. But
I
how,
guess if you went about that way, just need clear direction from the board on what you'd like to see in between those.
Talking about putting the 2% in there.
I'm gonna make that motion that we bring them up even to what they would have gotten, which is roughly 113, starting with the new budget for the general fund that didn't get the adjustments last year. And then we can discuss the other, so that way we'll know what's in or out. So I'll make that motion,
So it's how much?
113,
to raise the
to get up
general
even with
fund,
everybody.
yes.
And then we decide capital projects or total, whatever.
Cody, correct me if I'm wrong,
2,479. What was the other that's coming out that took
They
that down?
take that 259 or 258
Yeah,
or
it's about,
something.
it's about $200,000. But the number is actually,
And the benefits was like 200,000.
no, he said the total price.
113.
Oh, the adjustment,
Yeah.
not the total,
He said,
on the
no,
adjustment.
just the adjustment.
on 13, and you take that out of 200,000, roughly, I'm gonna make exactly, it's pretty close to 200,000. Is that correct? You wanna take it over?
Yes.
But you still got the fund balance of 5 point
You'll have the
something.
fund balance, you still have the rainy day, don't change anything, we already, this is the budget, we already have the money, we already have it. It's already done this year. So you do that. Then, you have a clear slate. What you do is you decide then if you're gonna give a COLA, if you're gonna do capital projects, you know exactly how much money you got, you're not take it out of anything, or you have to put it out of unassigned unassigned fund balance, whatever you're gonna do. You decide what you're gonna do, if you're gonna do it. Each department can plead its case on what he wants to do.
Call roll, please.
Fred Ellis.
Yes.
Roger Lofton.
Yes.
Jimmy White.
Yes.
Gordon Wildridge.
Yes.
Gabe Williams.
Yes.
Sandra Wood.
Yes. Okay, so,
And now, it has to be voted on again, next week.
yes.
Okay. Good, so it's just passed one night. And then we can move on to tax day.
Well, we added to what comes in, so we know what we're looking at. It'll be in that next budget we get, correct? Any changes we make,
Correct.
you'll send us a
You
budget.
have the capital projects,
Got the
they're
rates
asking
there.
for, right?
Well, the night, they need to get up.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, they need to get up and have and tell us, so we can list what those capital projects is. And we can decide tonight on some, yes or no, and we'll move on to what we're gonna do for next budget.
Are y'all prepared for that?
Since we've got Cody up, do you have any capital?
I've got $20,000 in for miscellaneous IT upgrades, unknown upgrades, just as they get.
They're already in here, or you,
They're in here.
so there's nothing that you don't have.
Correct. And that's on it west. We also have citywide, IT infrastructure upgrades that cannot wait at all. That's not tied to specific departments, it covers all of them. But on page 81, we currently have, 65,000 budgeted for next year.
That is already in this budget?
Yes, it's already in.
So that's not a capital requirement. I mean, it's not, it's already in this budget.
Correct. That's it.
So you're just asking for the 20,000 for the miscellaneous IT?
Correct.
It's not,
That already is.
It is in the budget, yes.
Oh, so you,
the miscellaneous IT is?
Correct.
Okay.
so you're really not asking for anything this time?
Correct. And just so I'm clear, before the next meeting, everyone also wants to see a historical trend of the rainy day fund. Is that it?
So let's start back with.
Hey, Cody, just to clarify, on the rainy day fund, so really the unassigned and rainy day.
Unassigned is just what's left over after we have the restricted, the committed, and the reserve.
So all I'm saying is, if we only know the rainy day, that's not giving the two, I mean, the two funds combined each year.
I'll think about all of
Does
them.
that make sense? Because I mean, that's very misleading, because rainy day and unassigned really is the same thing. It just buckets of money, it's accounting measures. They're both our current cash on hand that we can use for whatever we want to. And you have to keep 2.5 million. Yeah, I get it, but.
That is correct, but basically, the message that you're sending about setting aside money in rainy day is the board is setting this aside for a time of need.
But if we're looking at, for budget purposes, how much money we're using each year though, the two combined are what the
As
real
long as you
picture
meet
is.
that minimum of 3.5, we're good.
But I'm saying, if you only look at rain day, it can stay the same, but we may have taken some out of unassigned fund balance to balance the budget. Is that in previous years? So we need to know, we need to see the total of the two each year to show what we've actually been using or not using. Does that make sense?
Okay, Chief, I'm going to start with you.
So obviously, as I was discussing earlier, there are no currently any capital projects coming out of the general fund in the budget that you just passed. What we had previously put in there was $130,000, that's to buy 2 patrol cars. What I did do was move that over to the, drug fund. If I have that money in the drug fund, I was gonna buy none of that, but those are the competing priorities. Brad kind of alluded to the same issue that we're having on both the police and fire side of the house. Our communications equipment has come to end of life. And so we're gonna have to make decisions on what we're doing, so the police can talk, firefighters can talk, we can communicate in emergency situations. He's saying with the infrastructure, what my belief is that infrastructure cost for those communications equipment is extremely expensive. But the state of Tennessee is erecting towers here in Henderson County. And as a matter of fact, they're gonna put one right out in the northern part of the city on the utilities division's communication tower. That we can get on to that system and use, they can pay for the infrastructure required. We just have to pay for the communications equipment to get on that system. That equipment is very expensive. I'll give you an example. A portable radio could run us as much as $3,500 a piece. When you're talking in the fire world, because those radios, portable radios have to be the NFPA standard, because when they get inside of those burning buildings, that you can't use a policeman's radio in there because it'll melt. So those radios are as much as $10,000 a piece. So my goal was to start purchasing that equipment now as much as possible. Obviously, I think my budgetary number to make the complete conversion at LFD was what? About $260,000. We weren't going to eat that all at once, right? We take little bites out of that. So I was going to put $50,000, $60,000 a year and start buying those radios now, so that we just can't afford to do that over
But in the past, though, the cars were taken out of the general fund.
Yes, that's correct.
Not out of the drug fund.
That's correct.
So and I won't put words in your mouth, but what we should probably do is look at putting the cars in the general fund budget this year, not the drug fund, use the drug fund money to start purchasing
some radios on the police side of the house.
and have a little bit of cushion for if things unexpected.
That's correct. And I wish I could tell you that I could count on a certain amount of revenue being generated into the police drug fund or the federal drug fund, but it's just not, you just don't know when it's gonna come in. I may have $70,000 come in at one time, and then I may go 3 or 4 years. I mean, there's just no way to project when that money's gonna come, in. Just depends on the type of investigations that we're involved with and how those cases progress. It's just a long, arduous process. But those are the kind of things I can use that money for, is that kind of equipment, and that's our plan, to defer those costs away from the taxpayer, but they're very long.
What do you want to set aside?
For communications, I'd like to set
For us to set aside for it, not the drug fund.
So I think Gabe's suggestion is a good one. Put $130,000 in, that'll buy me 2 police cars. If we can buy 2 or 3 cars a year,
Which is what we've done historically.
historically.
So basically, if you take it out of the budget, it's really hard to ever get it back.
Right.
We've done a good job rotating vehicles.
We've done a good job, and we're keeping our officers in safe equipment, and I wish I could that we were getting the long-term use of them. I mean, I've got some cars with 130,000 miles on them, but they've been driven by one officer the whole time. So if you start hot seating cars, I can tell you they don't last. They just don't.
So you want 130,
130 to the general
and then
fund.
you will take your drug fund money.
I can take that and start purchasing radios, yes. But I've got to get on a plan of action with that in this budget year, because I know that I can't come up with $200,000 in 1 year. I need to start eating that elephant one bite at a time. And on the fire side, I don't have that luxury. The equipment's more expensive, but I don't have a drug fund to pull from there. So we need to start with a plan.
So the 130 is strictly for police.
130 is for police.
You're asking for fire.
On the fire side, well, we're gonna have to dance with the old fire engine animal at some point. Whether it's this year, whether it's next year, they're only getting older. And we're doing our best to take care of it, but I don't have any allowance for a major maintenance expense on one of those apparatus. If a pump, one of those pumpers goes down, I have to have it rebuilt, we're talking money I don't have in my budget to absorb.
But you can come back here.
But I can come back and bring that bill to you all. You know, should we go with a refurbished option, which could be $275,000, or another pumper, which right now they're last time we priced one was close to pushing $1 million to one of those.
So how much are you asking for fire?
Right now, I think communications upgrade is the most important issue. You're gonna give us $50,000 a year to let us start buying those radios, because again, keep in mind, a portable radio is $9,000 to $10,000 a piece to meet that NFPA standard. And I can tell you, based on my own personal observations, that you just can't handle any radio sticking in that kind of heat, because they're literally melting.
Okay, so make sure we got this right. You want $50,000 to $60,000 on the radios for the police, if you're gonna take out the drug.
I'm gonna take it out of group.
You're asking for 2 police cars to say 130,
Yes,
and then you're asking for 50,000 for the.
for the fire department to start purchasing radios. That's right. Now, bear in mind, you don't have to do anything with those communications requests from your current budget. I think the verbiage we used was law enforcement equipment in the federal drug fund budget and the drug fund budget. So it gives me some options. There is money budgeted there right now that I can either buy legal with, or I can buy communications equipment with. You will dictate that path. If you give me general fund money to purchase cars, then I'm gonna buy communications equipment out of the drug fund. Pure and simple.
The opportunities for grants, I know you don't really know, but are those, is that possible for the communication stuff?
Yes, and we have been pursuing that every year. Through FEMA, it's kind of strange the way things are currently working, and this is completely subject to change under the current administration. So keep that in mind when I'm about to say to you. On the fire side of the house, there's funding available for equipment and things of that nature, and that's what we've made applications on, have current applications pending, trying to get some of these things funded. On the police side of the house, not so much. It's more about personnel, putting policemen on the street, putting personnel toward the particular problem. So I don't have opportunities for funding on equipment on the police side of the house as much as I do on the fire side of the house, and then vice versa with personnel on the fire side of the house. So there are the challenges. I can get trained in equipment on your police, on your fire department. I can get personnel on your police side, but those come with matches. Most of those come with matches. So you got to keep that in mind as well. But we're pursuing those options every budget year.
But the equipment, the cost may be close to the same, but you got less employees in the fire department, so you're not gonna have to have as many.
That's correct. The only problem is the cost is just great. That's exactly right. The cost is just great.
Other than that, you feel good?
I couldn't echo the sentiment more. This budget is physically responsible, okay? It's just not sustainable for the long haul. You all have just addressed one significant issue with our personnel. That is my best resource. My most significant resource to get the service to the community. Taking care of those people and to keep them is really, really important. And I've already got employees that are in the hiring pools with other agencies. And whether we like it or not, as a region, as West Tennessee, you've only got so many people working police officers and working law enforcement, and they're going to chase the dollar. They are going to chase the dollar. And it's taken me the better part of a year to train somebody to where they're out on the street on their own. So I just want to keep those things in your head. I know you all are in a tough position, there's no question. But trying to keep what I have huge. It's my biggest problem. And on the fire side of the house. personnel that we over there, those specialized training that those people need to have to do that job, get the service to the community. Keeping them is, in my mind, one of the highest priorities.
Chief, I want to add too, money's part of it, but also they gotta have a leader that they feel, they have to feel needed and wanted and appreciated. So I'm asking you as their leader, with this budget, are you gonna feel better about that? If this stuff gets in there, would you support the budget?
Absolutely.
And I mean,
These things get in here, and with what you guys just did tonight, I think it's a huge message to our people, and that they're needed and wanted and valued, for sure, because you all are part of that leadership. Most certainly. I'm just the guy that you had tasked with day-to-day operational task. But what you do is huge with that, and that made me feel bad. I can tell you. I know I'm speaking for those people that are in the room that work with me. I say that. Thank you all.
Casey?
So if you go over to,
I'll call out the money.
all right, so if you go over to the part, y'all sheets are probably different than mine, but on capital, I had, usually we do a scoreboard every year for one of the fields. I had it in there this year, but the balance of budget, we took it out, so I'd like to see 10,000 put back in there for a scoreboard. Replacing some of the fencing on, the fields, 10,000. Work on the perimeter fence, in the back, 25,000. Work on the perimeter fence in the back.
That's different.
You gonna bid that out, y'all can do it.
Probably, if we get time in the winter, then we can look at doing it ourselves.
You talking about the ball field, right, baseball?
Yeah, not the fields,
Not the soccer.
there's, not the fields itself, it's putting up a perimeter fence in the back where we have all the four-wheelers and dirt bikes and trucks and things of that nature. I got pictures sent to me a while ago, there was dirt bikes on the basketball court.
How much of that was you asking?
25.
You had 50 to begin with, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Playground. That's
right. And then, the bleachers, another set of bleachers.
About any lights?
You know, if you'll remember back in the fall, I done that with the Musco Light, and I think it was $1.5 million. You know, and that was to redo all the lights on the fields, all new underground, new boxes, things of that nature. And I didn't get a buy on it, so I'm at the mercy of all of that.
Well, obviously, we don't have money for all that, but
Right.
the soccer field being as well as.
The soccer field's got all new
They got the lights, didn't they?
bulbs, so to speak, and all the open speaks, yes.
We can even cut that in half, what you gave us tonight and what you actually originally started with. All this got
For the park.
yes. HB 30.
So are you gonna do less of it? I mean, you cut the price in half, and are you gonna do more?
Okay, so that, like, fencing, the perimeter fence, that would be just the back part, you know. We could look at going all the way around, that was my initial plan, but then you're gonna get into a lot of cost, yes. I'm trying to be reasonable.
See why?
So you're,
55,000 is what you're asking for total.
10, 10, 25,
Yeah.
yes.
What about your equipment for streets and mowers and all that good stuff? You feel good about that, or are we?
Alright, so so I've got one in there for the, street this year. But if you go down, of course, y'all's is probably different than mine, but next year, I've got a mini XN for 27, asphalt roller for 27, or, yeah, that's 20,000, and you got a, grapple truck is 235, and a single axle dump truck is 220. That's a big load for next year on your equipment. So, I'd be more than happy, if we could move one of them capital. Your two grapple trucks, one of them's 18 years old and one of them's 10 years old.
So if this year something happens to equipment, we're not gonna have, that's what we've been doing for a while, I think.
One truck is in the shop, every 2 weeks. So, I can pull the work this year.
So you wanna pull one of them from next year to this year?
Yes.
He's just saying that's what's gonna be up there next year, so either we do half of it or a third of it, or
The grapple.
portion you want.
235,000.
So if you had a good year this year, and we don't expect next year to be as good as this year, then you do more in a perfect world, but.
What did you say for the street?
Grapple.
I know, but there was something else before that, I thought.
No, I just said I had a load.
You said mediate?
No, I was just going over everything you're gonna have for next year.
And that covers all your departments?
Solid waste.
The shop's already got its capital projects, they're still in there.
Solid waste should be self-sufficient.
Solid waste,
So I imagine nothing else is gonna happen, but you didn't put that budget.
Mowers, all the mowers, I just remember that from years
yeah,
past.
all the
that's
mowers are in there.
So we're good on that, so got you.
So that's total,
290, that's everything you're asking for, 290.
235
The
and
55,000, 290.
so a total of 470 for everybody, so.
That'll fix you up
yes, ma'am,
for a while.
for this year.
You got that, 470, well, keep it for himself. So general fund,
420,
so 130,
that was 130, and then 50 for the radios for the fire, which is 180, 180. Yeah. 420.
one
presented is, getting us at the end of the year, roughly 1.5 million, with a positive cash flow of 43,000. Capital projects, capital projects would be about 1.5 million. That's varies from main line replacement, lift station repairs, sewer line repairs, or replacements. Like I said, we have a long list. There's $12 million worth of grant funded projects in this budget, so like I said, the list is very long.
But all that's in your budget.
Yes, sir.
There's not anything outside of your budget that you requested.
You support this budget and feel like everything's in there that you would need and
As of today,
need.
And your rates will cover what you need.
yes, sir.
Can I ask a couple questions?
Yes, sir.
On, page 2, you got the proposed rate 25, 26, I think they're showing natural gas delivery at $3,761,000. And last year, it was showing it to be $4,180,000. Is that correct, page 2? That's a very complicated.
What you said, I got page 87.
I got the other, I want the same one,
You got one.
so what you got on your meeting, Mr. Silverado?
What you talking about, the 4 million?
Yeah. See, on, so the revenue right there, it says natural gas delivery, and it shows that, it's got the sales above it, and it shows $3,423,500,000. But now, look, the natural gas sales delivery, this year, you propose to deliver, looks like a lot. $300, about $1,000 less, is there a reason?
We've been trending with it.
$1,000?
The winter, like I said, the winters, we've had cold spurts, but no extended period.
So you're projecting a $400-something thousand less sales this year?
I mean, we overshot it basically last year.
Overshot last year? Okay.
That's it.
The
When
year
we,
before that, the year before that was $3,154,000. So they overshot it $1 million. That's a big overshot, isn't it?
well, like I said, when you, the gas for sure, when you're sitting here trying to look at all the historical data, climate data, to make a guess, basically what you're going to bring in the revenue based upon the two.
I guess my question is, if you miss it that much in 24, 25, you feel confident on the 25, 26 projection?
As confident as I can be with the weather. I mean, like I said, gas is weather dependent. I mean, that is depending on what the weather's going to be.
Okay. I'm sorry, I'm trying to, I'm assuming it says without a cover adjustment, it says personnel expense, this is on my page 5, but maybe on page 5, which you want to. Page 5, it says personnel expense. You see that?
That's the wastewater, yeah.
It just said, I got this right, it says it's all gas, water, electric, but I'm assuming it's right here, it's on the water, what it is. Water and wastewater, what it is. Total water operating expense, what it says. On page 5, you see it?
My page 5 is not your page 5, I'm looking at the packet that we got over the
Okay,
weekend.
well, I may have it wrong. Anyway.
Talking about
The one you're looking at is the one without cold.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was looking at that.
Okay, you look at it.
I got it now.
Okay, so
We're
this is
thinking.
not a total adjustment, still it's about $100,000, where it was last year.
what you wanna do, Fred, was cover everybody, so now we're back to the general fund.
All right, so that's $470,000 without COLA. And if you add in that COLA, 2.5% to the general fund, that's another $177,000, and I got that from taking the 261, or the 290 total from the 13 that we approved. So that would be another 177 on top of the 470 if we funded everything. So about $647,000, give or take.
177, what you said? 70,000?
177. I got that, taking the 290 from the 113.
That's $647,000.
$647,000.
And that would give the police department what they had asked for. It would start on the radios for the fire department, and it would be the street department, and it would be for the parks too, so. And the COLA.
And would that bring the money down to about an even 5 million? Am I looking at that right, Cody? That you have left?
No. That would leave it 5.5.
Still 5 million.
5.4.
And the highest for rainy day fund has ever been is, 2.75.
What year was that?
Most recent year have been 23. 23 is when we took 1.7 out. So 22 would have been the last year that reflected the full balance.
When did we start that?
It started in 2017.
We accumulated that from 2017 and went through it.
Correct.
You didn't have one.
Correct.
The question is how much do we have in that bank? How much do we want to give up?
So we didn't touch that tonight, have we?
Huh?
We haven't.
So what we need to decide on this first reading tonight for the, general fund is, are we going to put in $647,000, which includes the 2.5% COLA, and also includes the capital projects that, Chief Middleton asked for and that Casey asked for?
I'm
Yes.
gonna make one observation, so of that, is that $647,000 expected to repeat the following budget year? We do this, so is this gonna be reoccurring costs that we're taking out of
For
our?
the capital items?
Not the capital
Well,
projects.
well, just think of like police cars, for example, every year Chief Middleton is gonna want $130,000. I'm going back to, like Casey says, there's other equipment we're gonna need next year. So we're short $647,000. I can't remember the exact number, so we're gonna spend more, 647 more than our revenues are. So next year, we're assuming we have the exact same budget, but we have no inflation, things don't cost more, we're still gonna have a need of 647 to start out, not counting anything additional. Because everything I heard of this is gonna be recurring expenses. I didn't hear any one time. This isn't like we buy a truck that's gonna last 20 years and we never need another. These are all expenses that are gonna be.
You'll have some grant money that you're spending this time that you won't be spending, the match that you won't be spending, so you'll be getting, how much I don't know, but that'll be something.
And that's coming off the,
The
street
sidewalks
sidewalks and all that.
So that'll be,
So you'll have that money, whatever that is.
okay, but you see my point though, that's where my mind goes is that, I don't wanna, again, if we can, it's not that we have to have a huge amount of cash, but if we're if we're burning cash on our operation every year, which is what we've historically done, just some years more than others, that's always the ongoing concern. So we're basically, our expenses are going up more than our revenues are going up. And caught in the future of having, you know, multi-million-dollar shortfall, and we have to do something to offset. You know, we have to do something we don't wanna do, which is taxes or anything else that happens in a large amount. Covered.
One other thing, how much money debt-wise will we be coming out of over
I mean, our debt payments are very low, but
So that's better, but still.
we'll say 2 years.
That's good number.
Last 5 years.
Fiscal year 28 is a pretty good drop. Our principal drops from 446 down to 245.
Our debt service will drop.
Yes.
That- Yeah, absolutely.
some? And when is the school? You know, when it matures, the debt on the school?
It's a gradual decrease, kind of same thing, from fiscal year 27 to fiscal year 28, but there's a pretty good drop. But that's strictly funded from sales tax.
I understand.
Sales tax fund.
Yeah. I got it.
So, to answer just Gabe's question about reoccurring, you're looking at right at $500,000 every year. You got, 261, which is the total amount. Actually, no. 4 miles. Because you're looking at about 350,000 in reoccurring, because that's 177. For the raises, 130 for the 2 patrol cars, and the $50,000 for communication equipment.
We do have a full liner in here, and that will not be.
Yeah, I just gave the cost for the general fund increase, the patrol cars, and communication equipment.
Yeah, Casey's equipment, he was projected 27, it's gonna be pretty good.
Yeah. Casey's is gonna do about 300,000, so, but that's.
We moved a little bit forward.
Yeah, but the Casey's is debatable. But the communication equipment is gonna have to be done, the patrol cars are gonna be done, and the salary increase is automatic, so that's, 350. So just,
we say, buy the dump truck, 235.
yeah, the gravel truck, but that's not gonna be recurring.
Well, but you'll have a need every year
Yes.
though for equipment.
Yes,
So-
but that price is gonna fluctuate, and like next year, he said, they need another one, we can always take that out next year. For a set cost, you're looking at a minimum of $250,000. That we're gonna have to make up or keep different.
You know what sales tax?
I agree, that's been the.
Coming up every year.
That's the number that reflects inflation numbers, to be honest with you. I mean, that's gone up because everything has gone up. You know, when the sales price of everything goes up, the sales tax dollars go up.
So, on the first reading, if we agree, to everything, we can make adjustments before the second reading, but that would be a total of 647. So instead of 400, make it 250. Well, 100 of it did come from street aid.
None of that comes free lane?
Yes. So that would make it 250, then make it 350.
It's still at 350.
Yeah.
Anyway, look at it.
Yeah, either way.
So we drop it down to half a million, so it's down to 647.
I want to point out, we're not gonna be able to keep doing that. We pulled money out the current fiscal year, and it's proposed
So you're saying,
We're gonna do a patch on the 8th.
you're saying what they'll go from 500, right now we got 400 in the budget and 100 from state street.
Yeah,
services.
anyway,
Okay, we got 500, so you're proposing what though?
take 147 out of it, make it even half a million, while we take out of it, 88, I'll take out 647.
So lower the paving budget.
And that'll leave us unassigned of $5,515,338. And a rainy day of 974 and 968.
But what worries me with that is you hear it every day, you know, the streets are terrible, we got a pothole there, you got a pothole there, you won't fix the street. So we take that away. I mean, I know that it takes, what, $100,000 just to do, what,
About a mile.
a mile?
I'll
On a
put it
mile.
this way. When I said, well, no, I wouldn't mind taking half a million out of it. I'm opposed to 647. So, I'll be willing to work for $500,000 mark, but I'm not gonna do it 647.
And the majority of the roads are state roads, so where the problems are at. So we're not gonna fix those. So,
I'm not saying, you need 500 in there, you don't do for all I care, I mean, that's fine. You take it off something else, you can work around it, but what I'm trying to say is, you know, I think this is 72 or something. $500,000, and do the farming based on the percentage of what we're doing. So we picked up $200 and something thousand in sales tax revenue. If we do that, we're only short $300,000 for a year. So $300,000 sounds a whole lot better than me, and $500,000 is a lot better than $647,000.
we'll make the motion.
So you gonna, that's what I was gonna say, you gonna make a motion to that?
I'm not making anything, that's all. I'm gonna get that from that.
I'm not trying to trick you. I just-
All I'm saying is, we're trying to balance budget, do what's right, for everybody involved, and try to point on the stuff they need. I don't mind helping them out, we've always done it in the past, and it looks to me like we're pretty close on the budget, but I'm just saying, we don't think $500,000 is bottom, especially for sales tax. And God forbid it goes down, I don't think it's gonna go down, it may run sideways, but if it runs sideways, we break even on sales tax, but if it goes up a couple $100,000 like it did this year, then we come out better and have a little more money.
We got a question on liquor tax money, how much do we have there? I don't mean part of it, but it's a part, but is that legal?
Ain't that much left after that.
For the current fiscal year, ending fund balance of 1.5. For the proposed budget for fiscal year 26, proposed ending fund balance $440,000.
So you could take 40,000, 75,000, or whatever to do streets out of that, yes? You could. It's gonna cover it. That after the grant's covered.
You could, also do have a cushion in case any of those grant projects have an overrun.
How much was up, was it about 400,000 left?
Yes.
That's actually on the city park. Is that, what's the other part we're putting? Doing something else with it, that's out there, at the industrial park, yeah.
You've got Depot Park, cemetery expansion, the access road for the T-Cap, that's what I'm.
That's after all that, correct? That we have that left?
Yes,
So you could take half of that,
We
75,000.
got 400,000 left.
yes.
75, half.
We could take 150 out of it.
Just in that way you could come out. Part of it, all of it, okay?
You brought it up, go ahead. I'm sure you'll get a second, I'm sure.
leave you $250,000. Or if you took 75, then you would have to, you might reduce your payment by 75, however you want to do it. It's just whatever.
I'm just trying to come up with enough money to get closer with the balance point. That's basically what I feel like we need to all work for. And we're getting
We're close.
We're close, we're not close, we're close.
So if we take the 150 out, include everything that we talked about doing, that puts us about 500, you said. Anybody that's not good with that, at least on the first reading, they can change the next time and every bit of it can go away.
So answer, I'm good with it, I'm going with the one, but basically we're saying we're taking 150 out of paving, but we're also gonna lose 100 in 2 years from now. So we're really,
No, we have to include.
well, I'm sorry, but based on what Cody said, that 100 that we're getting out of State Street aid is not gonna continue, so.
We have to look at it next budget.
Yeah, I'm all for passing this, I just wanna make aware of what we're really pushing down the road.
My fear is we wait till 26 and we don't come back in the same mind that we live here with, and then we're I hate not having a meeting between now and then, but it is whatever y'all wanna do.
Ready for the motion?
Yes. I'm gonna make that motion.
Well, we're gonna say what the motion is first.
What the motion is.
Motion is to make the changes that we discussed as far as the additions to the general fund budget. All of them, take 150 from liquor funds to pay part of the paving, and pass, I guess you gotta pass, bid on each one, each one of these separately. You do them all, and then all the other budgets, make the motion that we pass them, like we discussed.
So how much are you taking out of, okay, you're gonna take some out of the liquor fund and pay for the paving.
150,
So we're not taking anything out of the paving budget.
Correct,
We're just gonna fund it differently.
correct.
We're only gonna be taking $593,000.
I would be unassigned.
And then 150 out of it.
Yes. That gets us first reading.
647, 150 is gonna take them. The 647 and 150, we're gonna fund is on right there.
Yeah.
You got that, Mallory? Okay, so had a motion?
Make that motion
Second.
with the understanding, and I always do it that way, understanding or not, anything can change.
Right, and that is the rest of the budget's included as well.
As
Go
we,
one
as
time.
we discussed, yes. Let's
As
put some
discussed.
confusion on it. I don't mind going one by one.
We can do that, Cody. We can do that, vote on all at one time?
Yes.
Okay, all right, making sure. Okay. Call the roll, please.
Roger Lofton.
Yes.
Jimmy White.
Yes.
Gordon Wildridge. Dave Williams.
Yes.
Sandra Wood.
Yes.
Brad Ellis.
Okay, thank God for that. Okay, the next item is public comments. Do we have anybody in the audience